Welcome back, and today is day 3 of our series of anger. And let's talk about anger and its third element of anger. So, today I will be talking about something which we all know, but probably we've not specifically spoken about it. Now, this is related to our yesterday's talk. Now, yesterday, when I said that we get angry mainly because of pride and when we feel that we have sacrificed so much in a relationship. Now this comes from something that is being, that's missing in us. So when we kind of belittle ourselves within ourselves, we don't maybe show it to people, but we don't think good and high of ourselves. High doesn't mean having that pseudo pride, but high means you are not completely happy within yourself. Now connected to this comes another aspect, and that is acknowledgement. Now what is this acknowledgement? Now this again, it would sound really similar to yesterday's thing, but this is little different, in fact really different. This acknowledgement means the reciprocation we receive in any relationship. So say maybe we don't weigh and we don't keep calculating in every relationship, but we definitely have a reciprocation in every relationship, in every other person that we speak to, or we even have that the slightest or maybe the most feeblest of relationship, we have an acknowledgement, we have a reciprocation. So I mean, I would say one very simple thing example to give you is, maybe I'm traveling by auto. So in those moments I am having that relationship of a driver and a passenger. That is the relationship between me and the auto guy. So if he ill treats me by throwing tantrums, or by giving a very rough ride, I mean not taking care of my comfort, and his way too rude, I definitely wouldn't like it. So that's something that is disturbing. Now, even if that person, I don't know his name, I don't know anything about this guy, even if that person was only meant to drop me off to my place, drop me off to my destination, but even in that much of time, if that person has not reciprocated and if has not behaved properly with me, I'm definitely going to have my part of anger. Now, talking about that, so we basically have these kind of angers every day. But there are some friends, some relatives with whom we have a little special bond, a little more closer relationship. And when you have reciprocations from those friends, those people, which is not quite what you expected, and that kind of leaves an impact on you, and you start getting angry. Now, what happens when you start getting angry? We love to do two things. We either blame ourselves or we blame the other person. So 90% of the time our ego blames the other person, because naturally we don't want to see faults in ourselves. But even if we blame ourselves, understand something, we are not coming to a solution, we are not getting rid of the anger. So basically, even when you're blaming ourselves, I'm being self-critical, and I'm putting down myself further by saying that, okay, I'm just like that, maybe I'm not loved by anybody. Now I have been in both the phases. So once upon a time, when my self-esteem used to be like extremely bad and extremely low, I would I would take any damn nonsense from anybody, and I would start blaming myself more and more. So I would start belittling myself so much that I would literally feel that, okay, people will behave this way with me, they should behave this way with me because I'm no good. And my self-esteem would further go down. But when I actually gained self-esteem, it was the other way around. I kept blaming the other person completely. That, okay, it's the other person and he or she has no right to behave with me like that. But none of the things are good enough to eliminate anger. No, none of the things are good enough for you to manage or to not have anger in the first place. So say there are a lot many times when we, in fact most of the times, we do not get the reciprocation or the reactions from other people the way we had generally have expected. Because again, we all know this fact: perception, intelligence, exposure. There are so many factors which can make a person think the way he or she thinks. And we very, very smoothly, we very quickly come to conclusion that okay, he or she is very nicely insulted me or has done this or done that, and I'm angry, I'm wrong, and I would not want to do this again. So we what we do is, because we can't move out of that relationship, or we can't move out of that situation, so then if we don't have any scope of blaming the individuals, we blame the situations. And when we can't get out of the situation, we keep on blaming, and then we feel then there is this guilt which takes over, that okay, because I mean, I am guilty of not moving away. So then you take the blame on yourself, that okay, because you're not moving and not doing anything about it, you are being in that situation. So because of that helplessness, you start getting more and more angry. So many times, in fact most of the times, if you see, I always tell people, there's another name for anger, and that is helplessness. Most of the times, if you see, anger is associated, very closely associated with helplessness, because you can't do anything about that relationship. So say, I'm so damn angry with my children, but I can't just cut off from my children and move away. I'm so angry with my partner, but only for a small reason. I can't say that, okay, get out of my life. Okay, I'm so angry with my parents, but I can't say, okay, I'm no more your child. So, sometimes we feel very helpless that, okay, I wish I could just put an end to this relationship, and I'm not able to do it because the anger is at its peak, but you cannot do, the anger is not the ingredient, the way the anger that you have, you're facing, it's not strong enough, it's not a good reason enough for you to walk away. So you kind of get more angry. So it's the helplessness which makes you more and more angry. But what do you do out of this? So here there is a beautiful way to deal with this. Now here is the technique, and the technique part that I want to talk about. So please listen to this very, very carefully. So whenever someone says something about us, or when somebody behaves in a certain way, when someone acknowledges our behavior in the way that we do not like it, which can generate anger, the first thing to understand is that, okay, maybe he or she is like that. Reflecting in yourself that, okay, I didn't intend to be wrong. So that's first thing. So if you really intended to be wrong, then yes, you need correction there. Then definitely you need correction, because intentions are very, very important. But if your intentions were not wrong, if you didn't intend to pass the message in that fashion in which the message was received or perceived, you need to be settled in yourself that, okay, my intentions were not wrong, they were right, but probably the way it was delivered was maybe wrong. First, second, maybe it was not meant for that person. So that person maybe is not of that caliber to understand the message in the right perspective. So that's it. Understand that and move on. So you can move on, move out of the emotion. You don't have to move out of the relationship, and that is very important. So you have to understand there are limitations to yourself, there are limitations to other person in understanding, in perception, in the entire processing of emotion, what we do. So when we as human beings can just give that benefit of doubt to the other person, that okay, somebody is not in the position to process that message the way I have processed it, it's not his or her fault, it is the limitation which he or she is facing, and hence move on. But feeling angry that how are you not able to understand, how are you not able to just get it, we are forcing ourselves on somebody, we are imposing ourselves on somebody, when we know that that person has his or her limitations in understanding, in just getting the entire thing. I mean, it's not that easy and simple as it seems. So say I am a psychology student. Tomorrow someone comes and explains me the in-depth or the extremely technical aspect of machine, a manufacturing unit. I might not understand, because that's not how my brain can function. My brain doesn't understand these things, so it that person might get angry if he or she has decided to make me understand. But if he or she understands my limitation, that okay, that's not my area, this is just not my aptitude, this is just not me, I wouldn't understand, and that person is very happy. He will, maybe if he wants, or he or she wants, he will explain and just probably leave it there, without having that compulsion of making me understand. But what most of the times, our ego, our pride makes us come into the state, in the position wherein we are compelled to make somebody understand that, okay, look, this is what it is. Do you get me? You better get me. And this is where our pride generates into anger, and this is where we don't get acknowledged for one, because we don't get acknowledged because that person has not understood. It's so simple, right? So you need to put that into perspective, and this is one beautiful way to enhance a personal growth. So here you're going to evolve as an individual if you can give benefit of doubt and move out of the emotion rather than moving out of the relationship. So please focus on what I have said, and please mention in the comment section if you can practice this, if you have practiced this, and if it has made any difference in your life. Thank you.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.